Hello everyone, thank you for joining us today. We are now live with Nottingham Trent University. My colleague from Thailand, Sirijuta, will give you a little bit more introduction in the Thai language. Over to you, Siri. Hello.
ค่ะสวัสดีน้องๆที่เข้าร่วมสัมมนาออนไลน์เรียนต่อการตลาดดิจิทัลที่ Nottingham Trent University นะคะวันนี้นะคะคุณอเล็กซ์แล้วก็เคที่เนี่ยเขาจะมาให้คำแนะนำแล้วก็เกี่ยวกับข้อมูลเกี่ยวกับการเรียนต่อการตลาดนะคะสำหรับน้องๆท่านใดที่มีคำถามนะคะสามารถพิมพ์ทุกคำถามได้ในช่องแชทนะคะเดี๋ยวเราจะมาตอบคำถามในช่วง Q&A section ในตอนท้ายประมาณ 15-20 นาทีนะคะ so shall we start Alex Okay.
Great. Thank you, Siri. And good. Well, it's morning here in Nottingham. I think it must be afternoon there for you. So good afternoon, Sawadee. Thank you very much for your time this morning. As Siri said, my name is Alex Hiller, and I'm the head of postgraduate and executive education at Nottingham Business School at Nottingham Trent University. So I'll just share my screen with you, and I have a presentation which hopefully you can now see.
Yes, it is visible.
Great, thank you, and hopefully you can hear me okay?
Yes, Alex.
Okay,
Yes.
Great, thank you. So again, my name is Alex. And my responsibility is for all of our postgraduate education at Nottingham Business School. We are part of Nottingham Trent University. The university itself is one of the largest and most popular universities in the UK. We have, I think now, in excess of 30,000 students across the whole university on 4 campuses. The business school is one of the largest schools in the university. And we are based in Nottingham city centre. So the business school campus is right in the middle of the city. It's like a campus in the city, and that's something that students really, really like. I think from the business school building to the market square, which is the centre of the city centre, which you'll see in a second, is about a 4-minute walk. So we're right in the heart of Nottingham. And that puts us really close to lots of businesses in the city, as well of course for everything that students need. So I'll talk a little bit about that as we go through. My plan today is to maybe spend about 30 or 40 minutes just talking you through what the business school is like, what it's like to study here at the business school, what we offer. And I'm going to put a particular focus on 2 things. Firstly, around experiential learning. So experiential learning are the opportunities that you would have to put your learning into practice in a business. And that's really, really important to us, that the learning is not just done in the classroom, that you have as much exposure to business as possible. So I'll talk to you about the various opportunities that you can have to do that. I think lots of students listening in today will be particularly interested in our marketing programs. So I'll perhaps focus a little bit on our marketing programs, but I appreciate students might be interested in a range of things. So I will talk to you about our whole portfolio. When I've done that, we'll have some time at the end for questions. So there'll be plenty of time to ask questions at the end. So if you have questions as we go through, please do make a note of those, and I'm happy to ask any questions that you might have at the end of the presentation. Okay, so I'm joining you here from my home office in Nottingham. I'm not on campus today, so I thought it might be helpful for those of you that probably don't know anything about Nottingham, just to show you a quick video, perhaps to give you a taste of what Nottingham is like and what it's like to study in Nottingham. So hopefully this will work and you will be able to hear, but please let me know if you can't, Deepika or Siri.
Yes, we can hear it properly.
Yes. I don't think the sound is coming. It's like Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I hope that might just give you a little taste of what Nottingham is like. As I said, that in the video there, you could see the big square in the centre of the city with the big white building with the dome. The business school campus is around a 3 or 4 minute walk from that square. So we really are right in the heart of the city. Nottingham itself is quite it's one of the 8 largest UK cities, but it's also quite small geographically, if that makes sense. So you can walk from one end of the city centre right across to the other end, probably in around 20 minutes. So although it's a large city, it's very contained, and students really like that because it means it's really easy to get around. You saw the tram system that we have throughout the city that makes transport very, very easy. But there's a lot to do, as you saw in the video. So Nottingham has a really, really great retail sector. It has a really great arts scene. It's really well known industry-wise for its creative industries. So for students, particularly that are interested in marketing and digital marketing, there are a lot of creative sector organisations in the city. There are a lot of digital marketing agencies and consultancies within the city centre. It's also quite a large financial services hub. So we have many large financial services organisations in the city. It's also, I mentioned retail, so that's not only retail in the city centre itself, it's the home of Boots the Chemist, or the Walgreen Boots Alliance, which I think most of your students will be aware of. So they're based in Nottingham, along with many other retail headquarters as well. And there's also quite a big and growing bioscience and biotech sector as well. So there is a lot of technology-based industry within the city. There's a lot of investment into the city in terms of the UK economy. So it's a really great place to do business, and it's a really great place to study business as well because of those connections that we have throughout the city centre. So I thought it would help just to show you a little bit about Nottingham. Of course, the most thing that Nottingham is famous for is the legend of Robin Hood, and you saw the statue there in the city. And I think developing from that, Nottingham is developed an identity for itself as the rebel city. So a place where things are done differently, a place where innovation happens, a place where people challenge established ways of thinking and doing things. And I think that's certainly reflected in the character and the culture of our school as well. So I'll tell you just a little bit about the school. This is our business school, our main business school building on the city campus. You can see it here from within the main university building. And our mission is to deliver education and research that combines academic excellence. So the quality of the study is very, very high. We have some really, really great faculty who are recognised internationally in their fields. But the really important thing for us is not only the academic excellence, but the impact that has on people. So people being our graduates, the businesses that we work with, our staff within the university, of course, business, but society as well. And society and responsible management are things that we take very, very seriously in the school. And I can say something a little bit more about that in a second. But I think that's just useful to think about in terms of this idea of impact. And I'll talk about how we try and make sure that that impact is felt by the students on our programs. I think the thing to do before I do that is that we have gained international recognition in service of that mission. So we're accredited by AACSB and EQUIS. These are the two main international accreditations that business schools can have. When you're looking at business schools, of course, you will look at rankings, I'm sure, and things like that. But I would also look to see if the business school is accredited by either AACSB or EQUIS or both. There are only around 1% of the business schools in the world that have both AACSB and EQUIS accreditation. and those are really hallmarks of what we do. We're also accredited by the Small Business Charter in the UK for the work that we do with small businesses. And I mentioned responsibility. We are Prime champions, one of a very small number of global Prime champions. Prime is the Principles for Responsible Management Education, and we really lead that area in the work that we do in terms of responsible business and management too. So the postgraduate programs themselves within the school, it's a very, very diverse postgraduate student population. On full-time programs, we have around 900 students. So that includes students taking full-time master's programs. We have a body of exchange students who come to us from partners for a semester or two. And those are split across 2 intakes. We have a September intake, which is our main intake. We do have a January intake as well. Currently in January, you can take our management program, our marketing program, our marketing and brand management program, and our finance program. So we will have a new group of students starting on Monday of next week, who will be starting the course in January. I think the thing that I would say about that is that for lots of universities that have multiple intakes, quite often what will happen is that the program will start in September and the January intake just joins the program in January. So they effectively start the program but halfway through and then do the first semester at the end of the program. We don't do that. If you join us in January, you start the program at the start, and it makes sure that you have a really coherent and good academic experience. I mentioned the diversity of the population. We have every year in excess of 50 nationalities studying our programs. It's a broadly even male-female split. At the last set of data, we had slightly more females, but that can vary by program. And on the MSc programs, these are what we call pre-experience programs. So it means that you don't have to have any work experience as a condition of entry. So the average age is around 23. About half the students will have no work experience at all. About half will have done some internships or maybe a year or two in a junior role within an organization before they come to us. So it's on the full-time programs, it's quite a young and quite a diverse population of students. And that diversity is really important to us because you learn from each other in the classroom. So you don't just spend all your time, in fact, you won't spend any of your time sitting in big lectures with one of the professors talking at you. The teaching is really centered around smaller group, interactive work, sharing ideas, discussing the things that you're learning in the class. And again, that's something that's really important to us from the point of view of teaching and learning. We do have MBA programs and other professional and executive programs that are more geared towards people that have work experience. But I think most people, or if not everyone today, will be interested in our MSc programs, the pre-experience programs. So I will focus the presentation on those. But yeah, big focus within that teaching and learning experience around collaboration, around sharing ideas, around putting the things that you're learning into practice. There are lots of ways that you can do that on the courses. So in terms of those courses, here are the things that you can study. All of these are on offer with a September start. So we have an MSc in management. That's our largest program. And the way that program works is that you can either just do an MSc in management or you can study that program with a specialism. So we have specialisms in business analytics, in finance, in supply chain management, in international business, and in marketing. So the way that works, I'll explain the structure in a second, but you would study your core management subjects in the first semester. So you would do a bit of human resource management, a bit of organization theory, a bit of information systems, a bit of finance, a bit of operations, a bit of strategic management, and then you specialize in semester 2. The MSc management program has a dual award with the Chartered Management Institute. That's the largest chartered professional body for managers in the UK and has international reach as well. And I know they have operations in Thailand too. What that means is that you would graduate also with a CMI qualification. You get a level 7 award in leadership and management, and that would give you eligibility then for membership of the CMI. You would have student membership whilst you were a student with them and access to all of their resources and networks. So again, professional body accreditation and working with professional bodies is really important to us, and we do that very closely where there is a professional body accreditation available. So on management, it's the CMI, the Chartered Management Institute. We have 2 programs in economics. So we have an MSc in economics and an MSc in economics, banking and finance. We have an MSc in project management. Again, that program is accredited by the Chartered Association for Project Management. So again, when you graduate, you would graduate with eligibility to be a full member of the CAPM, and you'd also have student membership whilst you're a student with us. We have an MSc in international business. So options on the MSc in international business, you can study the full year with us. That's the single award. On the single award as well, you could also, if you wanted to, spend a semester of study overseas in semester 2. We work with a really large range of very good international partners. So you could go to a variety of locations in semester 2 to do a semester of study overseas if you wanted to. It also has a dual degree. And the way that the dual degree works is that you study half of your master's degree with us and half of the master's degree with an international partner. We work with 5 partners on the dual degree, 2 in France, 1 in Portugal, 1 in Italy, and 1 in Taiwan. So you could go to any of those other schools. You do semester 1 with us, semester 2 with the partner. You then do a 12-week internship, ideally in the place that you spend your second semester, but it could be anywhere. You could go back to Thailand to do that. You could do it in the UK as long as it's an internationally focused role. And then you come back to us in the 4th semester to do your dissertation. And at the end of that, because of the work we do with the partners, you would get a master's degree from us and a master's degree from the partner institution. So you would graduate with 2 master's degrees on the dual MSc International Business. So if getting international experience is really important to you, then those are programs that you might like to consider. The single award has an international study consultancy trip as a core part of the curriculum. So you would spend a week overseas where you would go and do some consultancy projects for an international business. We then have our marketing suite. There are a number of programs within the marketing suite. So we have an MSc in marketing. That's really aimed at students who might not have studied business or marketing before. So your degree might not be in marketing, but who want to work when they graduate, what we call client side. So that means you go into a firm and work in a marketing department. Normally that's more geared around products. So typically students might go into fast moving consumer goods organizations to work in the marketing department. They might not know exactly what area of marketing they want to work in, so that they'll go into one of those more generalist marketing roles. The students who want to specialize in digital, we have an MSc in digital marketing. I'm going to say a little bit more about that in a second, so I'll come back to that. We have, for students who are interested in branding and brand development and corporate reputation, we have an MSc in marketing and brand management. Again, that's really focused on students who want to work in an organization and go into a company to work on company brands. We have a master's in advertising and marketing communications. So a bit of a narrower area of focus, really focusing around advertising and marcoms. That's really aimed at students, and typically students from that program go to work what we call agency side. So typically those students don't go into a company to practice marketing. They would go and work in a marketing agency or an advertising agency and the content is really focused around helping students into those kinds of careers. We then have 2 programs. The first one may not run next year, but these 2 are programs who are really aimed at students who already have a marketing or a business degree where they've done a lot of marketing before. So marketing and data analytics is a really specialist marketing course for students who have studied marketing and want to take that to the next level. And we know that a lot of the organizations that we work with, our advisory boards, the people that recruit our graduates, are saying that what they really, really value at that advanced stage is an understanding of analytics. So that's why that program is like that. So for MSc Marketing, Digital Marketing, Marketing and Brand Management, and Advertising and Marcoms, you don't need to have a business degree or a marketing degree. We take students from any background. And again, that makes for quite a good learning experience because we have students who have studied graphic design and journalism and psychology and law and things like that. And that makes a really good learning experience for understanding marketing in practice from different perspectives. Marketing and data analytics, you would need to have studied some marketing before. We then have a suite of finance programs. So again, we have an MSc in finance, and then specialisms in finance and accounting, finance and investment banking. And we also have a really exciting course in fintech and financial markets for students that are really interested in the fintech space. So I mentioned the professional bodies. The marketing programs are fully accredited by the Chartered Institute of Marketing. And you would have student membership of the Chartered Institute of Marketing whilst you study. And you could graduate with either a level 4 or a level 6 qualification in marketing from the CIM. And our finance programs have a range of relationships with the ACCA and CIMA, which could give you exemptions from professional body finance exams. There are then 2 others. We have an MSc in Innovation Management and Entrepreneurship. So for those of you that are interested either in starting your own businesses or going to work in a firm in the area of innovation management, so typically what we call intrapreneurs, that's a really, really great program. And that whole program is really centered around developing business ideas. We work a lot with investors and business angels and other entrepreneurs who will come into the program to work with the students and help them work through ideas and understand what innovation and intrapreneurship and entrepreneurship are really all about. So it doesn't teach you about innovation and entrepreneurship, it teaches you to be an innovator and an entrepreneur. And then we have an MSc in Human Resource Management. So again, for students who are interested in going into the HRM area. Again, that program is fully accredited by the Chartered Institute of Personnel and Development. You would have student membership as a student of the program, and when you graduate, you would have eligibility to become a full member of the CIPD. Okay, so that's the portfolio. Most of them are what we call conversion degrees, so you don't need a business degree to study any of these. The exceptions are in the economics programs where you need some quantitative and ideally some prior economics study. On finance and accounting, where you need to have done accounting before, and on marketing and data analytics, where you would need to have studied some marketing before. Otherwise, we accept students from any background onto any of those programs. Okay, so that's the portfolio. The way that it works is a little bit like this. So there are, well, 4 or possibly 5 main phases of study before you graduate. Okay, so the first phase is here. So the work starts actually before you arrive with us. So what we will do when you confirm your place and start your enrolment is we will ask you to complete some pre-study modules which are done online. So everyone will do an introductory module that will prepare you for study in the UK and that will prepare you for study at NBS. So it will take you through some of the basics that you know to be able to, when you come here, so you know what to expect and you know what your study will look like and you know what your program will look like. It will introduce ideas around critical thinking, and some of those academic skills that you will need. We'll also ask you to do an employability pre-study module. One of the things that we're really known for as a university and as a school is our really high employability rates. So again, we work a lot with businesses. There's a lot of employability support, but we want you to come to us prepared to know what to expect, to get you starting thinking about your CV, to understand what employability support is on offer and what you can do from the minute you join us to start working on what you're going to do when you finish the program and how we can help you be successful, whatever your career goals are. So those are 2 pre-study modules that everybody does. For students who study marketing, there's a marketing pre-study module we'll ask you to do. That really covers the basics and the principles of marketing so that when everyone comes to us and is in the classroom, has the same basic level of understanding of some of the basic marketing principles and techniques. If you've studied marketing before, that will probably be quite easy for you, but it will just help establish some of those fundamentals and will be a useful refresher. And we have the same thing for students that come onto our finance programs. Okay, so we'll ask you to do some pre-study work. Then you join us at the start of the program and you have a week-long, I don't normally like to use the word induction because induction kind of suggests that it means we'll be showing you where the cafe is and giving you tours of the campus and all that sort of stuff. We will do that, but that induction week is really a development week. And again, that is geared around preparing you for study with us and getting you used to working with each other in teams and preparing you for the year ahead. So that's a really, really important week at the start of the course. At some time in the first week or 2, we will take you out on a residential program. So that's a team building, a leadership development, and a confidence building program. So we take you out into the beautiful Derbyshire English countryside, where you do a range of leadership development work, some confidence building activity and some team building activity. And most of the, well, all of the students that do that really talk about how transformative that is and what a great learning experience that is, and how helpful that is in getting you to work together, because I talked earlier about how the teaching and learning is very participative and it's about discussing. So a big emphasis on development at the start. You then start your first semester. The semesters are about 12 weeks in length normally. And the first semester is where you take your core modules. So these are the foundational modules for your subject of study. You take 3 modules. They last 4 weeks each. So you do them in blocks. So you study 1 module at a time. That means that you can focus on 1 subject at a time. It means that your assessment is spread throughout the year, so you don't get to the end of the year and have a load of exams that you suddenly have to study for, and it puts pressure on a particular time. So students really like that way of studying and learning. So the way that those modules work, you have 3 weeks of teaching and learning. That's a mixture of online work for you to do, so preparation for the classes, and some of the content delivery that can be done on demand at your own pace. And then you come into workshops. The workshops are normally on 3 days of the week, normally for 4 hours a day. So you'd have a workshop for 2 hours, then a break, then another workshop. Okay, so you do that for 3 weeks. Then you have a week, which is assessment. You submit the assessment at the end of that week, and then you move on to the next module. So semester 1 is the core. Semester 2 is where you take your specialist modules, whatever you're specializing in. So we looked at those programs earlier and some of the specialisms that we have. Running alongside those, you would take a module in professional practice. Again, this is really geared, not necessarily about employability, but in professional practice, we will work with you to establish what your own goals are. So what do you want to achieve both within the program and when you graduate from the program? And what does it mean to be a practice, to work in the field that you've chosen to work in? So in marketing, for example, we'll bring marketers in to talk about different areas of marketing. There's a lot of personal development work that you can do for the skills that you will need to develop that marketers are looking for. We cover some marketing ethics in that program as well. And we'll talk about what the professional bodies say. So what are the professional standards in your field and what's expected of you? So that professional practice module happens throughout the first 2 semesters. That's assessed at the end through an interview. So we'll put you through what it would be like for a job interview in your field, where you can reflect back on the learning that you've done on the program and talk to us about what you've done and how you've worked towards your own personal development plan. And then in the second semester as well, you take a shorter research methods module. Semester 3 is where you'd take your major project, okay? And there are 3 possible options. You don't do all of these, you do one of these. Most students take the consultancy project. So unless you want to, there is no traditional academic thesis. It's a very, very applied piece of work. So what happens on the consultancy project? You would work in a small team for a real client. We find the clients, and you would act for that client as if you were a team of management or marketing consultants or whatever it may be. So over the course of about 8 weeks, you'd be meeting with the client regularly. You would have a brief from that client and you would be reporting back to them. And part of the assessment is a presentation to the senior managers in the company, and then a report to that organization. Okay, so that's one of the key experiential learning things that you can do, the consultancy project. A small number of students elect to take the in-company project. This is a bit the same, but instead of working in a team as a team of consultants outside the business, you would work individually and go into the business and work in the business for a period of about 8 weeks. It's not an internship where you go and just get a bit of experience working in the company. Again, you would be given a consultancy style brief and you would be expected to deliver to the client on that brief at the end of the project. So that one's a little bit different. It can be harder because you're on your own in the company. You have to network within the company very effectively and very quickly, but some students like that opportunity. And then if you have a lot of experience already, or you really want to go on to doctoral level study, you can elect to take a business research project, which is more like a traditional academic thesis or dissertation, where you do an academic study working with one of our academic supervisors, okay? Everyone is guaranteed a consultancy project. You would have to apply to take the in-company project. So because we're placing you in a firm, we just need to make sure that you are, you understand what's required, that the business is happy to take you, that you're engaged with your studies, that we're confident you will be able to perform in that kind of role. So there's an application process for that. And there's an application process for the business research project as well. So we need to know for that you're doing well in your academic studies, that you're engaged with your studies, and that you will be able to perform within that type of project. So they're all options. Consultancy is guaranteed. The other ones are selective and competitive. That's the thing I think to note. Many of the programs have an option of taking a year-long placement. So particularly if you don't have any experience already and want to get some experience, or if you want some experience of studying in the UK, then the placement is an option that you could take. They're not guaranteed. So when you join us, you would have to start quite quickly applying for roles. You would have to go through job interviews and assessment centres like anyone applying for any kind of job. Typically, well, in the last 2 years, we've placed in the region of around 100 students in placements. So just to give you an idea of the scale. But you obviously have to commit whilst you're studying to applying for jobs, going to interviews, and benefiting or engaging with the support that we have for those placements. So I'll say a bit about that in a second. So on most of the marketing programs, the placement is a part of the program, but whatever program you're interested in, have a look at the website and see if the placement is an option for you, if that's what you wanted to do. where students do a placement, they go at the end of semester 2, and then they come back to us at the end, and you have to do a business research project if you've done a placement. That's the other thing to note, because they all start and finish at different times. There aren't any placements with the January intake because of the way that the timings work with our employers. So that's the other thing to note. Running alongside all of that is lots and lots and lots of activity. I said we're a big university and a big school. There is a lot of extracurricular things that happen. So as a school, we have our business leaders lecture series. We run competitions for students, global competitions. We have speakers coming in. We have support workshops. We have international weeks. There are so many things that you can benefit from. What you do in your professional practice module or tied to your professional practice module is you'll work with a mentor. And at the start, you'll set yourself a personal development plan, and they will work with you to help you identify the extracurricular things that you can do that will help you work towards that plan. So it's really hard to say exactly what those things are. There are hundreds of events every year that you can benefit from. I mentioned mentoring. Every student will work with an academic mentor who is there to support your study and support your own goals. We have opportunities for industry mentoring as well. So lots of students benefit from the support of an industry mentor. There is employability and placement support. So we have an employability team. They run workshops, they run careers fairs, they run sessions with employers. They can work with you one-to-one on your CV with interview practice. All of those kinds of things are offered by our employability team. For students who want to take a placement, we also have a dedicated placements coordinator who is a bit like a recruitment consultant, and again will work with you individually to help you find a placement. We also have a dedicated postgraduate personal development week. This year it's next week actually. Again, that week you have no classes, but we have a range of sessions. We bring people in from business who do personal development, skills development, technical skills, resilience, networking. All of those kinds of things are covered in Personal Development Week, and that's just for our postgraduates. Next semester we'll run Global Responsibility Week. So again, every student will take part. We bring visiting faculty from our massive network of international partners to come and deliver sessions on the theme of responsible business and management, ethical marketing, responsible marketing, all of those kinds of things. And then as a postgraduate student, networking is really important. Networking with each other on your course, networking with other students from across the school, networking with students across the university, and networking with local organisations. So there's a whole variety of networking events. So there's a huge amount of stuff that happens alongside those programs. And then if you successfully complete all that, you will graduate with your MSc, and depending on the program, possibly a professional body award as well, as I said. So I know lots of students are interested in digital marketing, possibly on the call today. That's just how that works for digital marketing. So in your core, you would study principles of marketing, understanding the customer experience, and strategic global marketing. But you would study those as a group of digital marketing students and to understand those within a digital marketing context. And then in the semester 2, you take your specialist digital marketing modules, and your research module is a customer insight through market research module. With the option of a placement and with those options of major projects at the end. Okay. So if you have a look at our website, you'll be able to see how that works for all of our programs. You will see the modules listed, you'll see the options, you'll be able to see exactly what you want to study. So do have a look at the courses on our website to see exactly what you can do and exactly what options you would have. So 2 things. Personalization, really important to us. So personalization is about being able to take specialism. It's about being able to support you as an individual. And for me, that's about working with you on your own goals and your own objectives and putting a support network around you to help you realize those objectives. So that support network is your academic staff, it's the administrative staff, it's the employability team, it's your academic mentor, it's an industry mentor, and it's also all of the different people that we work with that will come in and work with you on extracurricular events or through the professional body work. Okay, so that's really about helping you achieve your own objectives, to support your learning in the best way that works for you, to give you that mentoring and that support, and to give you as many opportunities as we can within and outside your program to develop your skills and to develop your competencies. To give you an example of how that might work, in program on the digital marketing course, we work with a large digital marketing agency. They come in and deliver some of the sessions with us, and then they run a digital marketing event in the city every year where people working in digital marketing can come in and hear from industry people and network with each other, and our students get access to that industry week. So there are lots of these kinds of things that happen, and our big focus is on making sure that's personal to you and helping you achieve your own objectives. I've talked a lot about the experiential learning, those projects, business challenges that will happen throughout the year. I've talked about the placement year. I've talked about the guest speakers. There's opportunity for industry visits, obviously the situation permitting. We think we have, it's hard to count them, but we think we have over 600 links with individual companies that we work with in a meaningful way. So that's they're coming in to mentor students or give guest lectures or take placement students or run projects. So we work with a huge number of organisations to make sure that you can put your learning into practice. Okay, so just before I finish, I'm going to show you a quick video which talks a little bit about those projects, because that's one of the main things that students do. So I'll do this and then we'll close up and have some time for questions. So just have a look at this. So that will give you an idea.
The consultancy projects are an opportunity for our postgraduate students to put into practice some of the theories and principles that they've learned on their programme of study and work with a real business on a live challenge. For the last 10 years, we've worked with hundreds of different sorts of organisations, from small one-man bands and SMEs to larger blue-chip organisations.
We've been all the year learning theories and doing different modules. And at the end of the day, you're like, when am I going to use this? And then there goes the consultancy project.
They come in and they sit down with you in several meetings, and they've really built up an understanding and a story of the business and where I'd like to take it.
I'm currently doing a project here at the dairy about researching new markets and growth for different sectors. I'm getting real life experience and it's really fun, and the team here are really supportive. By being here at the dairy, I've really learned new things that I'd like to do in my career, such as video design, and that's something I would not have considered before. We've been given ICANO as a client whose problems are basically to improve the internal communications plan. We've done a lot of focus groups, we've done questionnaires, and then we're doing a lot of research around the area and trying to come up with solutions for the company. We were really excited, but we also had a lot of pressure because they're such a reputed client and we have to live up to their professional expectations.
Each of the students benefits from a relationship with an academic supervisor who helps them through the project period and meets with them regularly.
The staff, what we have at the library, the resources, the materials that they provide, the guidance that they give us into the brief, the requirements of what, the checking us through our supervisors, what stages are we on, if we are in line with what the requirements of the brief is, if we are going in the right direction towards the project.
She's been there to guide us at every point. So like whenever we email her with any doubts or anything, she's always there to help us.
And you have someone by your side, so you feel more confident.
I would definitely recommend the consultancy project to students joining the school, because it's been a very big part in building my confidence as a professional. It's definitely given me an insight into the industry which I didn't have before.
You can learn everything in the classroom, but you can't apply it to real life situations unless you actually go into a company.
Coming off the back of a graphic design course where I didn't have much industry experience, this offers me an opportunity to deal with a client, basically work within a big company and help them develop.
Whether a student is taking a consultancy team project or an individual project, they're all about 6 to 7 weeks long. And this kind of duration of project gives them a real chance to work with a client and put into practice some of the theories that they've come into contact with.
the confidence, the ability to show leadership skills, which I didn't know I had before, and getting a positive reaction from your team as well is always nice.
When you go back home, when you go to your country, you'll be like, I know that that city better because I also did a consultancy project for them. I think this year is the year that I learned the most for my whole life.
Okay, so I hope that was useful just to tell you a little bit about those projects. Again, that work with organisations is really, really important to us, both informing our programmes, but also giving you the opportunities, as the student said there, to put your learning into practice. Okay, so just to finish, again, we have a very large, a very diverse student body. It's a very international student body. There are some international opportunities, as I said, on some of the programs that we have. The international support that the university gives is nationally and internationally recognised as well. So as international students coming to the university, you will feel very, very well supported and right at home here in Nottingham. So I think I will probably finish there and open things up to questions, if anyone has any questions.
So I can see there's a question already about scholarships, so I don't mind answering that one. So for anyone that doesn't know me, my name's Katie. I am the International Officer for Thailand, so I am generally here to help support you with your application and joining NTU. So we do have we have scholarships available, and we actually have a few discounts that are just available to Thai students. So we have a Thailand High Achievers Award. So we can offer up to a £3,000 fee reduction if you have basically got your degree from Thailand, and generally if you have a GPA of 3 or above. From most universities, some universities it's a little bit lower, you will automatically get that discount. So all you need to do is let us know that you have that grade, and we can put that through for you. If you need to take pre-sessional English, you can either take the 10-week course or the 6-week course and get the cost of the 6-week course back when you start the main program at NTU. I think that's like 1,000. Oh, I've forgotten it off the top of my head. It's 1,300 and something, whatever the price is of the 6-week course now. It's on the website, so definitely have a look at that. So those things are just available for Thai students, but we do have a really good range of scholarships available that you do have. They are competitive, so you do have to apply for them first. So we have an NTU Excellence Scholarship, which is between 25% and 50% of the tuition fee. And then we also have a couple of international scholarships. So we have an international scholarship of £2,000 and then international merit scholarship of £3,000. So like I said, it is a competitive process for those awards. You do have to be holding a conditional offer for the course first, and then you can actually submit an application for the scholarship. On that form, there's 3 questions that we ask you, and we're assessing you on the quality of those answers. So really think about what you're putting on there, because it is very, very key to you being successful. For the excellence scholarships, we will also look at your grades for your degree. So we generally only the people with the higher grades at degree level will sort of get put forward to the committee for the excellence scholarship. But then it's still based on the answers of your scholarship. So it is super important to really think about what you're putting in your answers. Make sure you're, demonstrating all of the best bits about you. You don't need to say anything like why you need a scholarship, because it really doesn't add any value to the whole application. So just really think about how you can put your best bits forward. Have you got any advice for students, Alex, for the excellent scholarships of like what kind of things they could put to make a really good, strong application?
Yeah, so there are three parts to the scholarship applications. The first is really asking you about what you could bring to the university. So, I think, students that can really demonstrate how in their undergraduate studies and how they want to take that forward, can act as an ambassador for the school, can get involved in the work of the school, that engage in extracurricular activity. That's really, really important, because I mentioned the importance of that earlier. The second one is about it's really about academic excellence, but don't let that put you off. I think what we're looking to see there is, what have you achieved? What have you actually done in your previous studies, or maybe in a role? And I think maybe the third one is the most important, because students tend to answer the first two criteria really well. The third one is about where do you want the scholarship and the degree to take you? So I talked a lot about us working with you on your goals. If you've got a really good sense of what you want to do, and also how your career can help benefit people, those are always really big ticks. So if you kind of come, if in your application you say, I want to work in marketing, so I want to do this degree, the panel is probably not going to really rate that very highly. But if you say, I really want to work in this area because I know that in my country, this is what people need to help the economy, or, I think particularly people who want to do something with a social purpose as well can have a really big benefit. So, don't lie, but I think having a really clear sense of where you want this degree to take you, and to see that you've done some research around that, they're always good for the scholarship panels.
Thank you, Alex, for your tip, and Katie for your useful information. I think after your presentation, students just ask one question about the workshop 3 days per week. So they curious in which semester that they're gonna have the workshop for 3 days per week.
Yeah, so for the core modules, the workshops are delivered on 2 days for 4 hours each of those days. On the third day, you will be doing your professional practice or your research methods. And also, I forgot to mention English language support. So for anyone whose first language is not English, there is academic English support that comes as part of the program, and that's a weekly class, at least in the first half of the year. And those tutors work with you around your assignment briefs and help you with academic writing and those kinds of things. So that's what would happen on the third day. On the day and a half where you don't have any classes, you'll be preparing for classes, working through online materials, going to workshops, doing the extracurricular stuff, preparing for the classes that you've got ahead. So yeah, that's how it works. Obviously, the third semester when you're doing your project work is a bit different, because then you're working with clients and it's a bit more independent.
We got 2 more questions in the chat box. They ask is the pre-study is necessary if her IELTS score over the minimums, and are there on-site classes or the hybrids?
Okay, I can take both of those, Katie, I think. So there are 2 aspects to pre-study. So one is the pre-sessional English course that Katie mentioned. If you meet our minimum IELTS requirement, you don't have to take that course. You can just be admitted to the program. But the academic pre-study modules that I talked about, then everyone has to do those. Yeah. But it's about 10 hours of study each. It's not a huge amount, but that's just work that you can be doing before you join us to prepare you for when you arrive.
The English requirements are slightly different for the 2-year option as well. So we do have a slightly higher, is it speaking and listening? Where we need you to have a slightly higher band, and that's just making sure that you're as prepared as possible. So when you start going through the whole process of looking for that, going through the placement process, you're just as prepared as possible.
Yeah. So about what's happening because of the pandemic. So currently, he says, and we're not expecting this to change this year. We've been back on campus all year. The way that our modules are structured, as I mentioned, you do some online study, but that has nothing to do with the pandemic. So we call that on demand. That means that some of the core content that you need, you can study at your own pace and at your own place. So rather than bring you into a lecture at a particular time where you sit in a big lecture theatre and somebody talks at you, instead we deliver that online through some high quality learning materials, so you can work through that at your own pace. And we know that's particularly important for international students. And then you come into the workshops. We are on campus. The campus is very, very COVID safe. We have the ability to switch to social distancing if we need to. The ventilation in the buildings is excellent. You will feel very, very safe when you come onto campus. You will see the signage around the campus about that and about the hygiene on campus. So yeah, students are fully back in class.
Thank you. I think that's all clear. Like, anything you would like to talk with the Thai student? We have like 5 minutes left.
I think go on, Katie, you were going to say something.
Well, I was just going to ask you, like, what kind of student like do you look for when you're like looking for students onto the course? Like, what kind of profile of student are you looking for the business school?
Okay, so well, in terms of academic profile, again, it depends which program you want to do. Obviously, we want people who have good degrees and who have the ability to study at master's level. But I think that's a given for any master's program. I think for me that the key things are students who are genuinely interested in their subject of study, who take that seriously and who are motivated to study. And also students who don't just want to do the minimum that they need to do to pass the degree. Because I said that everything that happens in the school, it's very interactive. There's a huge amount of things that go on outside the class. And we want people who are going to want to take advantage of those opportunities to come into class and to be able to discuss those things and share their ideas. So, you know, for me, that's the most important thing. People who don't just want to sit at the back and do what they need to do to pass, people who will get involved and engage with the support, the huge amount of support that we offer. So, yeah, I think they're the key things for me, really. But I would say that, you know, that as well, all of the students from Thailand that I've worked with have been like that. I've always been really, really impressed with the attitude and the abilities of Thai students that we've had, and it's always been a real pleasure to do that. So yeah, I really hope that we will see you on our programs later in the year or next year.
Thank you, Alex. What about you, Katie? Anything to add more?
I don't think so. I think Alex has covered everything really well.
Okay.
One of our strengths as a university is definitely making students are as prepared as possible, and we're giving them the skills they need to go into the world of work and just get on with it. And I think Alex has definitely spoken about all of the opportunities that are available for students. So it's all there for students to do. It's just a case of students coming and getting involved with as much as possible and taking up as many opportunities as they can while they're here.
Okay, thank you for your amazing presentation, and thank you, Katie. I think we cover everything today.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, if I could just thank you, Siri, and thanks to everyone for your time today and for listening. I hope it was useful. I hope you could understand my my Northern English accent, and I didn't speak too quickly. But yeah, I mean, if people have follow-up questions, they can ask those via the website, or they can contact the international office. Or I'm happy for students to email me directly. If anyone wants to talk to a member of the course team, we can put you in touch. So yeah, please just keep that contact, maybe through you, Siri, and we're happy to answer any questions that anyone has. But thank you to all. It's much appreciated.
I've just
Thank
put the
you
link
so
to our Thailand page as well, so that gives you more information about the offers and discounts that are available to Thai students, and it also has my contact information. So I've got Line, so if anyone just has any questions and they want to send me a message through Line, that's totally fine. I answer questions from students like that all the time.
Okay, thank you so much โอเคน้องๆคะอันนี้เราเสร็จสัมมนาออนไลน์เรียนต่อ Digital Marketing ที่ Nottingham Trent เรียบร้อยแล้วนะคะโอเคค่ะ We're gonna end the section today. Thank you so much, Katie and Alex. Bye bye.